Hello, JAG Indiana. School is out for the summer, and it's time to look at some EMDMS cleanup as we start into a new school year. So some spring cleaning. One of the first things that we'll need to do after school has concluded is go through your roster and look at each student's barriers. You're going to look at this from their barrier screen, their individual barrier menu, not from the participant profile. You're going to go into the barrier screen and you're going to look at the barriers, and if anything has changed and it's no longer an issue for the student, you'll enter a removal date and click Update. This will then remove the barrier from the student while keeping that number in their count. So if they had 5 barriers and we took out the transportation issue because it's no longer an issue, they have a bus pass, they have a car and a license, we put that date in, then when you run your roster, it will still show that they have 5 barriers, but when we run the conversion report, it will show that that barrier has been dropped. Again, you will not change anything on the participant profile. The participant profile is a snapshot of the student at the time of enrollment. When you make changes here, it can cause some issues down the road when they transition into follow-up. Next thing that you'll be looking at is updating their JAG Post-Test scores. So you can do this 2 different ways. If you have all the JAG Post-Test scores ready to go, you can go to the batch entry screen from EMDMS from the Enter drop-down menu. You'll click Enter, and then you'll click Test, and you'll get a screen that looks much like this. You'll click just the competency check marks as we're no longer entering information from math, reading, or language through the TABE. If you do not have everybody's information ready to go, you can do these one at a time by clicking on the student's name under your roster, and then in their drop-down menu, clicking on Tests, and then you'll be entering them one at a time. Next up is progress reports. It's the end of the school year. Their report cards have been finalized, so you're now able to enter their progress reports. Please keep in mind, it is cumulative. Again, you have 2 options here. You can do a batch entry in the Enter dropdown, or you can select progress reports from the student's individual menu. If you decide to go through the batch entry model, I would highly suggest first opening it up and clicking mid-year and doing a printout of all the students' mid-year progress report information. That way, when you have all their second semester or third trimester report card information, you can then add in the mid-year information to get your end-of-year results. So, for example, if your kiddo had 5 absences first semester or first and second trimester, they had an additional 3 absences at the end of the year, then their absences for end-of-year progress report would be 8. Keep in mind, the number of suspensions and expulsions are counted by the number of instances, not the number of days. So if they served a 3-day out-of-school suspension for 1 incident, you would enter a 1. Here's what it looks like if you were going into the progress report screen individually from their student drop-down level. Here you'll be able to see their mid-year information and then add in that 3 to make 8 for absences in that first blank box. So just depending on what you would prefer, some folks think the batch entry screen is faster. Others prefer having all that information in front of them on the student's individual level. Retention reports. So this is accessed again through the Enter drop-down menu where you'll click first your 2018-2019 roster, then the Enter drop-down menu you'll select retention, and you'll be completing the end-of-year status. You'll complete the September 30th status in September before the 30th of the month. So you'll see that the end-of-the-year status is the first column that will appear. And your options here are same school, different school, same district, left school, graduated, or unknown. So just select what best applies for each student at the end of the year, and then you'll go back to your 2018-2019 roster in September, and then enter their September 30th status. Graduation screen. So graduation dates can be entered one of 2 ways. You can enter them on the batch entry screen by clicking on the Enter menu and then graduation, or you can enter them individually on the student's drop-down menu. So if you select the graduation batch entry screen with the enter menu, it'll look like the picture in the background where you have all of your students listed all together. And what you'll do is go up to where it says graduation date. You'll put the date that the student graduated on, and then you'll click save, and that will update for the students that you select. If a student receives an HSE and there's multiples of those students, you can do the same thing here. You can enter the HSE date, click the little checkbox for HSE, select the students whom that applies to, and then hit save. You can also enter these graduation dates individually. If you have many students who graduate on different dates, this might be faster. So you'll go to the students drop-down menu. When you click on their name, it's the context demographic screen that appears first. You'll scroll down to the bottom of the page. Under demographics, you'll see birth date, deceased date, graduation date, and GED date. So you'll enter in their graduation or their HSE date in the appropriate box, and then again hit save. If you have any questions or need any help, please feel free to reach out. I can be reached at lwheeler@dwd.in.gov. Thank you. Have a great